Okay guys, in this video we're going to be looking at the physique of Baki Hanma from the Baki anime and manga. I know this guy is basically a lot of people's dream physique. He's basically developed every muscle to like the absolute max. He has like a perfect body. So it's understandable why a lot of people would want to try and emulate what he's achieved through all his years of training and try and come close to this perfect body that he has. So let's get into it. I think the things that stand out to me in this picture is his chest, which is just bulging, his shoulders, which are like perfectly round, and obviously his abs as well, which are like extremely cut, very lean. Can't see much of his arms in this picture, but they are very important, which we'll see in the next picture. So here you can clearly see he's kind of flexing his arms. You can see just how big his arms are, and because he's leaning forward a little bit, you can see like the upper traps as well, which are another standout feature. As you can see in the next picture, he has enormous traps and neck, like absolutely mountainous. So this is going to be an important part of the training. In this picture, you can see the size of his legs. He has extremely well developed quads and huge arms, shoulders and chest like we talked about earlier. And in this one, you can see more of his legs. He doesn't seem to have huge hamstrings or glutes. It's more the quads which stand out in the last picture. And from this angle, you can see he has a small waist. I don't think he has a particularly wide like upper body. He doesn't have an extreme V-taper like some characters have. I think Yujiro has a much bigger V-taper, like his shoulders compared to his waist is like ridiculous. But Baki, it's more similar shoulder to waist ratio. So even if you don't have a super wide frame, you'll still be able to get close to the proportions that Baki has, like with his shoulders compared to his waist. And in this picture, you can see his back. So he has big like rear delts, but mostly it's the traps that stand out. And he obviously has big lats as well, but like they're not as important as the traps, I think. So on screen now are the most important muscle groups in my opinion for Baki's physique, and we'll go over some exercises to best hit these muscle groups now. So starting with the chest exercises. First we have the flat bench press, and this is great because you can load it so heavy, and this means the mechanical tension on the muscle is going to be highest, and mechanical tension is one of the best predictors of muscle growth. So the heavier you can load a movement, generally the more muscle it's going to build. Next is the dip, which similar to the bench press can also be loaded pretty heavy, and it allows you to move through a greater range of motion than the bench press. So you're hitting that deep stretch portion of the movement, as well as the peak contraction which you see in the bench press. And lastly, we have deficit push-ups. So these also allow you to move through a greater range of motion than regular push-ups, and you can do these for higher reps compared to the other two because you're just using your body weight. Or once you get more advanced, you could use a weighted vest or put a plate on your back to make it more difficult. Now for the shoulder exercises, the best one is the overhead press, similar to the same reason for the bench press. So you can load this most heavily, and this is going to target your front deltoid, so the front of your shoulder. Next is the lateral raise, and this is going to target the side deltoid. So this is what's going to make your shoulders look very wide, and you can use very light dumbbells for these. You don't need a lot of weight. And then we have bent over lateral raises for the rear delts. So with these three exercises, we're hitting all three heads of the deltoid muscle. Next are the bicep movements. So we have the regular barbell curl, and this is going to be your heavy bicep movement, and you want to focus on progressing the weight on this one. And next is the dumbbell curl. So this is going to be like a lighter movement, and you're going to focus more on progressing reps with this one. For triceps, we have the French press or the overhead tricep extension. You can also do this with dumbbells. Basically, this is going to put peak resistance on your triceps in the lengthened position when your triceps are like stretched up over your head. And this is going to target the long head of the tricep muscle. And then we have close grip bench press, similar to a bench press, but you just take a closer grip and you focus on using your triceps to press the weight upwards instead of your chest muscles. And then last we have a tricep push down, and I like to use ropes because it just feels more comfortable on my wrists. And you can do very high reps on these, like push it all the way to failure, and then you can drop the weight down and do drop sets and squeeze out as many more reps as you can, like while lowering the weight every time you reach failure. And you can do that like 1 or 2 or 3 times. And we have one forearm isolation movement, which is the finger curl. Basically, you let the bar like roll down to your fingertips, and then you like close your hand and bring the bar back up into like a closed fist position. And you can do this either underhand, like shown in the picture, or you can do it overhand, which is the way I prefer to do it. Next, for the ab exercises, we have the weighted sit-up. You can do this on the floor, just put your feet underneath something like a dumbbell rack so you have some kind of support, and hold the plate behind your head. So you can just start with like a small plate, like 2.5 kilos or 5 pound plate, and try and get between 10 and 20 reps. Next is the weighted plank, and this is one of the most brutal movements I've ever done. I put a 25 kilo plate on my back and try and go for 1 minute just holding a plank position with this weight on my back, and it is extremely hard and it's extremely effective. And then we have the hanging leg raise or the hanging knee raise, depending on which one you can do. Hanging leg raise with straight legs like in the picture is harder, and you may be limited by your grip strength in this movement, so you might want to consider using chalk or straps to hold yourself onto the bar. Next are the trap exercises. Baki has pretty impressive traps, so these are pretty important. One of the best trap exercises is the trap bar shrug. So this is the bar you can see where you like stand in the middle of it, and your hands are in a neutral position and they're lined up like perfectly with your trap fibers. Much better than a regular barbell shrug, where you kind of have to drag it up the front of your body and it's not really aligned properly. So the trap bar shrug is a really good one. And also the face pull, which is going to develop your rear delts as well as your traps, as long as you like focus on the squeeze right at the top of the position. Now something that lots of people neglect, which is neck training. Neck training is very important for like combat sports, so like fighting or something like American football or rugby, where you're going to be like smashing your head into a lot of things. You need a strong neck in order to prevent your brain from rattling around inside your skull. And two basic movements you can do for this are the neck curl, where you put a plate on your forehead, preferably with like a hat or something to protect your forehead, and the neck extension, where you put the plate on the back of your head and basically you just flex your neck and extend your neck. And before you do these, make sure you do some like neck mobility stuff. Just move it through all the ranges of motion, like roll your neck around, twist it from side to side, like nod your head up and down, because if you had never trained your neck before, it's a very delicate muscle and you don't want to get your neck hurt. So you start with very light weights and work up to like 30 reps or so, and then you can increase the weight. And the neck grows very quickly because most of the time we don't use like any resistance against our neck, so most of our necks are untrained. So when you start using weights on it, it's going to grow very quickly. So for back exercises, first is the basic barbell row. This is your big compound movement for your back, so you're able to load it very heavy. You can do 5 to 10 reps, something like that. This is going to be like your main back thickness builder. Then there's the one arm dumbbell row. This is one of my favorite ones. This is very, very challenging when you do like higher reps with this one, and you can do a decently high weight as well. But personally, this is one of the ones that makes me feel my lats the most. Then we have weighted chin-ups. I like to do these for much lower reps, like 3 to 5 reps, and using heavier weights. But if you can't use weights yet, then you can just do high rep chin-ups. And this movement is called the inverted row. Basically, you set yourself up in like a power rack and get underneath the bar and grab onto it and pull yourself towards the bar. So it's like you're rowing your body weight instead of like a barbell. And this one is very humbling. You might think it looks easy because it's just a body weight one, but it's very difficult. Now for the legs, most important being the quads on the front of the leg. So the best lower body exercise is the squat, and the squat just recruits like so many muscles in your legs. It'll probably be your main leg builder, but a lot of people avoid them because they are hard, and the fact that they're hard is what makes them so effective. Next is the Bulgarian split squat. If you've done this one before, you know how brutal it is. I like this one because it targets both the like glutes and the hamstrings and the quads, so like all three of your thigh muscles get worked with this exercise and you really feel it the next day. So on screen now is an example program using these exercises of a 4-day per week full body program. So I'll leave this on screen. You can pause it and copy it if you'd like to use this structured program so you can use all these exercises in the most efficient way possible. So I hope this was helpful, guys. Good luck to all of you who are aiming to achieve this physique. Obviously, we have to remember it's not a real physique, it is from an anime. It's a bit exaggerated, but it's always good to have a goal to aim towards. And if this physique inspires you to get into the gym and start improving your strength and your body, then that's good. I've done my job. Let me know if there's anyone else's physique you'd like me to cover. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.